A week ago, the White Sox and Twins faced off in Chicago. When the dust settled, they found themselves right where they started. And with 13 games to play, it's clear no one is going anywhere. The final showdown is here. Someone will finish the series alone in first. It all starts next on Fox Sports Net. It is arguably the biggest regular season series for the Twins in 36 years. All that's at stake is first place in the American League Central with less than 2 weeks to play. The Twins start this series a half game up on the White Sox. And it's going to be a lot of fun inside the Metrodome for the next 3 nights, along with Bert Blyleven, and I'm Dick Bremer. And as a great series always should, this game starts with a battle of aces. Brad Radke for the Minnesota Twins, but who would have thought at the start of the year that the Chicago ace would be Esteban Loaiza?
Well, Esteban Loaiza coming to spring training as a non-roster invitee. They were hoping that maybe Esteban Loaiza would maybe be the 4th or 5th starter. Well, he's the ace right now for the Chicago White Sox. 19 wins and 7 losses on the year. And for the Twins tonight, in a rematch of their last starts together, it's going to be Brad Radke. A complete game against the Chicago White Sox, beating the White Sox. And Brad Radke has pitched outstanding since the All-Star break.
Particularly in some key games. You look at what he's done in the big marquee matchups, and he's performed very well.
Well, that big game against the Chicago White Sox, and then a couple in the playoffs, and then you go to last year, early September, against the Oakland A's, where he shut the door. And Dick, it always seems, I remember Kerry Woods came into here, and everybody talked about Kerry Woods. Well, Brad Radke beat Kerry Woods. He shut him out.
Brad Radke, the ace of the Twins starting rotation, and Torrey Hunter, the biggest bat in the middle of the lineup, and it appears he's saving his best for the last month of the season.
And it's good to see Torrey Hunter coming off a great road trip where he was 9 for 27 in that last series against the Cleveland Indians. 3 home runs. Now sitting at 99 RBIs. Torrey Hunter hopefully will be able to hit against the White Sox like he did against the Indians. Let's get that 100 RBIs and get it over with and add on.
There's always a lot of intensity in the Chicago and Minnesota rivalry. It's really ratcheted up in the middle part of September. The two teams playing for first place and a playoff spot.
Totally NASCAR.
TC dragging some White Sox around the Metrodome. The Homer Hankies have been handed out, and this feels like a playoff game.
Yeah, I got the chills. I'll tell you what, when they announced the team and they ran out on the field and all the Homer Hankies started flying around, it brought me back to 1987.
Retired plus batting order for the White Sox, and it's a powerful lineup. Roberto Alomar leads it off. Carlos Lee, Frank Thomas, Maglio Ordonez, Carl Everett, Paul Konerko, Jose Valentin, Joe Crede, and then Miguel Olivo. He pitched a great ball game against the White Sox last time. We'll see if he can do it again tonight.
Well, the Grand Casino scouting report on Brad Radke since the All-Star break, 7-1 with a 3.70 ERA in his 11th start. Now, it's always difficult after you beat somebody like the White Sox, like Brad Radke did, to come out and try to repeat the same performance. Let's see if Brad Radke is sharp again tonight.
Twins out in the field. Doug Mientkiewicz needs a new cap. He'll get one next year. The Northland Ford defense has Mientkiewicz at first. Denny Hocking at second. Christian Guzman, Corey Koski on the left side of the infield. Shannon Stewart, Torrey Hunter, Michael Ryan in the outfield with A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate.
Yeah, Denny Hocking playing second base in tonight's ball game because he has excellent numbers against Esteban Loaiza. Brad Radke making his 31st start of the year. 11 wins and 10 losses over his career against the White Sox. This is his 5th start against the Sox this year. He's 2-2 with a 4.25 ERA in his first 4 starts.
And mid-season acquisition, Roberto Alomar, no stranger to the Twins, will lead it off. A little bit low, ball 1.
Alomar with very good numbers against Brad Radke, 16 for 46. That's a .348 batting average. Hitting just .246 over his last 16 ball games.
Driven to the gap in right center field. Ryan cuts it off. Alomar has a leadoff single.
We saw Roberto Alomar in Cleveland all those years. He was a table setter for all the guys lower in the lineup. His job to get on base. He does that right here with a base hit off of Brad Radke. Radke with the 3 complete games, one of them coming in his last start against the White Sox, looking for his 13th win. And a good outing will push Brad Radke over the 200 inning mark in tonight's ball game. Excellent control for Brad Radke. He is averaging just 1.3 walks per 9 innings.
Here's Carlos Lee. All this talk about Frank Thomas being the team's MVP, maybe the league's MVP. Carlos Lee is having a great year, and he fouls the first pitch back. Leading the team with 104 runs batted in. Joe West gets the plate. Bill Miller at first. Jeff Kellogg at second. And Paul Emmel at third base.
Yeah, you're right, Dick. Carlos Lee having a great year. First time in his career. It's a career high 30 home runs. Career high 104 RBIs. Had a couple home runs in that Boston series.
Fouled away, 0-2.
Now you see a little tardy right there because in their last meeting, Brad Radke threw a lot of changeups to Carlos Lee and is way out front. So Lee's probably telling himself, I have to stay back. And Brad Radke, the veteran that he is, rather than a changeup, trying to get the fastball by him.
0-2 to Carlos Lee.
Like to pitch a lot of these right-handers inside.
And that is a foul ball by inches.
Boy, that tells me right there, Dick, he is sitting on that changeup. Brad struck him out a couple times in Chicago on very good changeups. And right there, that was a changeup, but it was up a little bit. Too good a pitch ahead in the count, and the ball just hooks foul. Opponents hitting .287 off of Brad Radke. He has given up 32 home runs. Right-handers are hitting .270, while left-handed hitters are hitting .301.
2 strikes to Lee. Into left field, a base hit. And the White Sox start this game with back-to-back singles. Remember, in the series opener in Chicago, in their first at-bat, they scored 5 times against the Twins.
Yeah, that was against Kyle Loesch. This is a breaking ball, stays up, and Corey Koski shading him a little bit to guard the line, ended up not being able to get that ground ball. So 2 straight base hits for the White Sox.
Corey not quite ready. He may have jammed his left shoulder a little bit, making an attempt. Here is Frank Thomas with the 40 home runs and the 96 runs batted in.
Frank Thomas 13 for 51 against Brad Radke. That's a .255 batting average, but 5 of the 13 hits have left the ballpark.
And Radke starts him with a strike. A comeback year, no doubt, for Thomas.
I remember he had that right tricep operated on a couple years ago. Last year, kind of a rehab year, but Frank Thomas, the batting average isn't there, but the power numbers are.
Inside with a fastball, 1-1.
Frank Thomas at 6'5", 275 pounds. Works the back of the box.
Or thereabouts.
Yeah. I see a catcher, A.J. Pierzynski, can ask the umpire, hey, move him up a little bit.
To second. To Guzman. Double play. Alomar to third and a big double play here in the first inning.
Denny Hawking right there tapping Christian Guzman. Nice going, because that's a big double play. A huge double play. Jamming Frank Thomas. Guzzi going across the bag, and even though the hard slide by Lee with that right leg up, the Twins turn a double play.
Okay, you got Thomas. Now you get Ordonez.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Ordonez may win a batting championship. He may hit 30 or more home runs. He may drive in over 100 runs. How do you ignore this guy's numbers for league MVP? Skied to short center. If Hunter sees it, he'll catch it. Inning over.
Beyond the Glory, Sunday.
Second attempt for 20-game season. A 20-win season.
Shannon Stewart takes a strike from Loaiza. Loaiza has had a wonderful year, and he's pitched very well against the Twins, except in his last start. 1-1. The Twins showed a very patient approach against Loaiza in the final game of the series in Chicago. Ended up scoring 5 earned runs over 7 innings. And Stewart delivered the biggest hit in the ballgame. Takes outside, 2-1.
And that's what Loaiza throws a lot of. This year he came up with that little cutter. Last year with the Toronto Blue Jays, 9-10 on the year. The most wins he's ever had in a season was 11. And now he's looking for his 20th.
Fastball and a swing and a miss, 2-2.
He's had an outstanding year. 20 of his 30 starts, he has given up 2 runs or less. So he has been pitching great all year long.
And Stewart reaching across the plate to poke it foul. Well, to give you some idea what a dramatic turnaround it's been for Loaiza this year. He's been around for a while, and he came into this year with a major league career ERA of 4.88. This year he's taken more than 2 runs off his career ERA, and that's ball 3.
Well, Shannon Stewart doing his job right here, fouling off some pitches, make that starter throw at least 4 to 7 pitches in his first at bat. That's what Shannon Stewart has brought to the Twins.
Full count to the leadoff hitter. Ball 4. And Loaiza, who's had very good control, walking the leadoff man here in the first. The White Sox, a much improved team out in the field. Carl Everett in center field. The defense brought to you by Northland Ford. He's got Carlos Lee and Maglio Ordonez on either side. Joe Crede, Jose Valentin, Roberto Alomar, Paul Konerko, and Miguel Olivo. And to a man, they all are playing better defense than they did a year ago.
Third in the American League in least amount of errors. The Twins are second.
Denny Hocking, great career numbers against Loaiza, 10 hits and 22 at bats, and he's the starting second baseman. On the inside corner, strike 1. Louis Rivas has been struggling, and as you and Clay pointed out in the pregame show, Loaiza's had a tougher time against left-handed hitters. He's dominated right-handed hitters, so a good night to make the change.
Yeah, right-handers hitting only 190 against Loaiza. Left-handers hitting 260.
1-1.
And then a lot of times you'll look at the matchups. Hey, Denny Hocking, for some reason, has had very good success against Loaiza. You mentioned the Dick, 10 for 22, where Rivas is just 1 for 6. And Ron Gardenhire, the manager, does look at those numbers and get Denny in the lineup.
Inside, almost hit him, 2-1. Loaiza, in his prior starts against the Twins, before his outing Thursday when he took the loss, 21 innings pitched and 2 earned runs.
Second in the American League in wins with 19. Second in quality starts, 24 quality starts in 30 appearances for Loaiza. Paying some attention to Shannon Stewart. Oliva behind the plate. Outstanding arm. 19 for 48 potential base stealers he has thrown out. That's almost 40%.
See if the Twins put the hit and run on here. Stewart goes. Pitch tapped foul at the plate. 2-2. Bounced around so many different organizations. Typically a fast starter. The difference this year, he's maintained that fast start. Started the All-Star game for the American League, and he had to make the team out of spring training.
Averaging 2 walks per 9 innings, 185 strikeouts in 204 2/3 innings. The second most strikeouts in the American League, 2 behind Pedro Martinez.
2-2 to Hocking, and a strike 3.5 swing, 1 away.
And that's what Loaiza's been able to do this year. Get some strikeouts. And that's what amazing what that little cutter has done, Dick. I mean, last year he averaged 4 or 5 strikeouts per outing right there. See that little cutter that he's been able to get over consistently. And Denny's striking out.
Here's Doug Mientkiewicz. And he too's had good numbers against Loaiza. And good numbers against the White Sox.
Doug 7 for 17 against Loaiza. One of the 7 hits being a home run. Doug coming off a good road trip in Chicago and Cleveland. We'll leave a good stop right there. Doug 10 for 30 on the road trip.
I don't believe that a Twins hitter has swung the bat with less than 2 strikes. I think the only time Stewart swung at a pitch was to protect the plate, and Hocking's half swing was his only swing in his at bat. And now Mientkiewicz taking ball 1. Twins trying to wait out Loaiza.
Doug, very good eye at the plate. 64 walks. He struck out only 51 times this year. And since the All-Star break, since he's been put into that number 3 spot in that batting order, he's hitting over .330 after the All-Star break.
Two 2-0 to Mientkiewicz. 3-0. He's essentially doing in the second half this year what he did in the first half 2 years ago, when the Twins rose to prominence and temporarily at least took control of the division. It was Mientkiewicz who pretty much carried the team through the first half. You can make the argument he's doing exactly that in the second half this year.
And it all goes by a good swing at the plate, but a very good eye at the plate.
A pair of walks, and the Twins are in business in the first. However many fans we have here tonight, you can only imagine how many we'd have if we were outdoors tonight. Wonderful weather. And it feels very much like October, except it's 84 degrees. And the Treasure Island weather check. 2 on, 1 out, and Jock Jones at the plate.
Well, with Jock Jones nursing a little bit of a groin injury, Matthew LeCroy not getting the at-bats right now, so Jock Jones going to get in that designated hitter role. 2 for 4 yesterday with an RBI, 6 for 33 lifetime against Loaiza.
With that cutter, Loaiza is always hoping to get a ground ball, see what Jones can do here. And he takes inside ball 1.
Had Jock Jones on in the post-game show, and he said that about Loaiza, he always seems to try to throw that cutter inside on me. See if Jock Jones tries to open up and maybe pull that ball.
2-0. Loaiza on the season only twice since June 1st has he walked more than 2 men in a ball game.
Well, this is a big game for the Chicago White Sox. Now, Loaiza, even though he's with the Pirates, the Rangers, and Toronto, may have never pitched a game like this. And Jock Jones swinging at a ball right there. You have to make Loaiza bring the ball up. Take a look at it. Another cutter, even though he's behind an account. That's been a huge pitch for Loaiza.
2-1. Up out of the zone again, and a swing and a miss.
And that's Jock Jones. He's very aggressive. He's going to strike out. He has struck out over 100 times already this year. He's going to try to swing and hit the ball hard somewhere, and just swinging through that high cutter.
Two and 2 to Jones. Down the left field line, but foul, and the start of the year, some with the White Sox thought that newly acquired Bartolo Colon would be their ace. Some thought last year's 19-game winner, Mark Burley, would be their ace. Instead, this guy has stepped forward and brought the White Sox to contention. Another 2-2 to Jones. Full count.
That might have been the straightest pitch that he threw Jock Jones. All the other ones, that little cutter.
Full count to Jock Jones. And another foul away. It wasn't just Loaiza's start against the Twins his last time out, but in picking up his 19th win of the year, the numbers weren't very good against the Indians. 7 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. So he's given up 10 earned runs in 14 innings in his 2 September starts. Check swing, ball 4. They're loaded up for Corey Koski.
Again, Loaiza came into this ball game. Don Cooper, the pitching coach, on his way out. Came into this game averaging just 2 walks per 9 innings. Already 3 walks here in the first inning.
Remember again, last Monday in Chicago, the Twins saw the White Sox jump on them for 5 first-inning runs. They were ready for the Twins in the opening game of a critical series. This a bit different. The Twins, a very aggressive team. And I'm not sure that Loaiza threw Jock more than 1 or 2 strikes in the hole at bat before eventually issuing his 3rd walk of the inning.
Again, this is a huge game. Maybe some pressure put on the White Sox because they know, and just talking to some of the White Sox, they feel they have to sweep the Twins in this 3-game series because they do have the Royals, they have the Yankees to play, and they know that the Twins have the Indians and the Tigers.
What a spot for your first at bat of this key series. Corey Koski stands in with the bases loaded and 1 out. Check swing, ball 1.
Corey Koski, good numbers against Loaiza, 10 for 31, a .323 batting average, and 1 of the 10 hits a home run. Good numbers against the White Sox for Corey Koski on the year, hitting .344.
On the outside corner to even the count.
That cutter, Dick, not only used middle in, he'll also start that pitch outer half and bring it over the outer half of the plate. Torrey Hunter on deck.
Not close. And 2-1. The Twins have this great threat going here. They've yet to put a ball in play. In the inning, 3 walks and a strikeout, and Olivo wants a different catcher's mitt.
That fastball maybe taking a little bit of the webbing out right there. Oliva getting a new glove.
For Loaiza, he won his first 5 starts in April, beating Detroit twice, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Minnesota.
Well, when the Twins beat him in his last start, he was on an 8-game winning streak.
2-1 to Corey Koski. 2-2.
Loaiza, 31 years old, from Tijuana, Mexico.
3-2 and no place to put him.
Well, he could put him at first, Dick, by a walk.
The crowd roaring. 3-2 to Koski. Left field. Lee retreats. Out number 2. Stewart tagging, and the Twins take a 1-0 lead.
Torey Koski getting that breaking ball at 3-2 and taking it the other way. It's deep enough to allow Shannon Stewart to score the first run for the Twins. For Corey Koski, his 65th run driven in.
Bases loaded in a 3-2 breaking ball.
Yeah, that's Loaiza, a little cutter. That's the pitch that has allowed him to win 19 games. He's not going to change now.
Here's Hunter. Runners at first and second with 2 away. He left one up and Torey just missed it.
Torey 12 for 31 against Esteban Loaiza with a .387 batting average with a couple home runs. It's a fastball and Torey just hitting it, just missing it right there. You always know that as a pitcher when somebody's on your fastball when they foul it straight back like Torey did.
30 pitches in the inning. So far, just 1 run has scored.
Loaiza has allowed 15 home runs in 204 and 2/3 innings pitched this season.
1 strike to Hunter. Bounce to the right side, an easy play for Alomar. And Loaiza escapes a big jam, allowing just 1 run in the first inning.
Come on in.
A Twins run without a hit in the bottom of the first, and now's your chance to get in the game. Go to foxsports.com, enter in keyword Twins booth, and let us know your thoughts on the Twins. And if we like your question or comment, if we find it particularly thought-provoking, or if you've promised to send us each $10, we'll discuss it later on foxsports.com.
Keep your questions.
Here's Carl Everett, just kidding about the money.
Well, why?
Strike 1 to Carl Everett. Everett and Alomar coming to the White Sox in the same day. Alomar, Roberto from the Mets, Everett from Texas. One and one. White Sox may have 7 players in their lineup with 20 or more home runs. They may have 5 players with 30 or more home runs. 2 and 1.
208 home runs on the year for the Chicago White Sox. 4th most in the American League.
The off-speed pitch that was so baffling in Chicago on Thursday, and it's 2 and 2.
Carl Everett, a switch hitter, is a left-handed hitter hitting .293. Most of his home runs coming from the side, this side of the plate.
Foul back.
Well, he has so much of Ken Griffey Jr. type of mannerisms on the mound, the way that he sets himself up at the last second, putting that chin on that shoulder, that being the right shoulder.
Changeup, but it was left up high and it was fouled back. White Sox had Aaron Rowand, Armando Rios in center field. Now Everett's out there, known more for his offense than his defense. 2 and 2. Popped up, short center field, hocking out, calling for it. 1 away. Friday, October 10th, the puck drops on Fox Sports Net. A hockey doubleheader as the Gophers and Wild return to the ice. A thrilling year last year for both teams. Don Lucia and the defending national champion Gophers take on Maine at 5 o'clock, followed by the Wild's home opener with the Rangers. October 10th on Fox Sports Net. 1 down, here's Paul Konerko. Konerko having a strong second half after a dreadful first half. Radke starts him with strike 1.
Konerko 10 for 32 lifetime against Brad Radke with a home run. He has reached base in 18 straight games.
On the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Radke had a dreadful first half and has pitched very well in the second half. And fans, I'm sure, want to know what was the turnaround for Brad Radke.
I had a chance to talk to Brad about that in Cleveland, and he just said better control of the fastball sets up my changeup. And he said that curveball that he just threw the last two to Konerko, he said has been getting better as the season goes on. And you look at the location right there. I mean, that's a good fastball ahead in the count, 0-2. And Konerko just fouling it off. There's what you were talking about, Dick. 5-9 before the All-Star break. And look at the after. 7-1 comparison difference in the ERA. Almost 2 runs per game difference.
2 strikes to Konerko. You got the sense in watching Brad in the first half that for the first time in his major league career he had lost some of his confidence. He really was discouraged with how things were falling apart for him. But then as the team seemed to need the All-Star break, so too did Brad Radke. Chopped off the plate. Konerko doesn't run well. Koski throws on the run, and Minkiewicz with the catch. He picked it right off of Konerko's ear flap.
Boy, a nice play right here by Corey Koski. This is not an easy play. Corey comes in and he knows that Konerko's running. Now, like you said, he doesn't have the best of speed, but he has to get rid of it quickly. And Doug, always so dangerous when Minkiewicz does this, because this is already where he's hurt his wrist a couple times, grabbing that ball before contact is made with Konerko.
So 2 down. And now Jose Valentin. And Radke starts him with a strike. And as sharp as he was Thursday afternoon, he looks locked in here in the early innings again tonight.
Valentin isn't going to hit much for average, but he has some power. 6 of his 25 home runs have come against the Twins.
He's one of those 5 players that may finish with 30 or more home runs. And it's remarkable when you think here are these 2 teams in almost a dead heat. The Twins haven't had a 30 home run hitter since 1987. The White Sox might have 5 this year.
Yeah, it's completely 2 different type of ball clubs.
2-2. Hit hard and foul.
You look at Valentin's numbers against Brad Radke's, 14 for 62. That's a .226 batting average, but 4 of the 14 hits have left the ballpark. All his power really from the left side of the plate, the switch hitter.
Got it. And Radke gets his team off the field in a hurry in the second.
Welcome back to the Metrodome. We just saw Brad Radke strike out his first batter. And watch Brad Radke, if you can, how that arm comes through. We're going to take another look right here. It looks like a fastball, but that changeup about 77 to 79 miles an hour. That's where Brad said he'd like that changeup to be as far as velocity. Looks like a fastball, and even that little changeup had a little movement down and away.
Joe West wants to have a little chat with Ron Gardenhire. I don't know whether Jerry Manuel has gotten West's attention about something. There's always been a little gamesmanship between these 2 teams and the 2 managers. A.J. Pierzynski to start the second inning. Ball 1. Through most of the bottom of the first, the Twins showed extraordinary patience and forced Loaiza to get the ball over the plate. He did here on the outside corner to even the count.
AJ just 4 for 20 lifetime against Esteban Loaiza, but this year hitting .352 against the Chicago White Sox pitching staff. In his career, he's a .350 hitter.
That's rolled just, a fair ball, says first umpire Bill Miller. From up here, it looked like that ball was on the foul side of the bag, but Miller got a better look at it than we did.
Well, remember, if this ball goes by the bag, it's up to the first base umpire to make the call.
Good
and
call.
that ball went right over the bag. Remember in last night's ball game, that ball ended up starting in foul territory, and then A.J. ended up getting a hit down that third base line.
Here's Michael Ryan. Good call by Bill Miller. And Ryan stands in. The umpiring has already exceeded the level of what we saw in Chicago. I don't think either the Twins or the White Sox were particularly happy with the umpiring in that series. And Ryan seeing more and more playing time. Doc Jones, of course, unable to play right field with the groin re-injury. 2-0.
And Gardy going with a hot hand. Ryan taking a pitch right there from Loaiza. He's never faced Esteban Loaiza. You can look at all the tapes you want, but until you're up there about ready to swing the bat, you finally see what he has.
Alomar can't flag it down, and Ryan has a base hit.
And he liked what he saw right there. Ryan 1 for 5 in yesterday's ball game. A big single scoring a couple runs.
And a great catch up against the fence. First hit of the ball game for the Twins.
Well, it's another little cutter right here. And Ryan hitting it right back up the middle on this turf. Alomar, a Rawlings Gold Glove winner, 10 times not able to catch up to that.
And that'll bring up Harman Guzman. Guzman 600 plate appearances without a home run, and then 2 in the last 3 games in Cleveland. And for what seems like the first time tonight, Loaiza starts a hitter with a strike. One from each side of the plate in Cleveland. Strike to Guzman, and another one on the outside corner.
Loaiza clipping the outer half of the plate. Guzzi 8 for 36 lifetime against Loaiza. That's a .222 batting average.
And Ryan chased back to the bag. Loaiza swears up and down that he feels fine. He's not tired. He's never pitched 200 innings in a season, so he's pitching innings here in the middle of September that he's never pitched over the course of a major league season.
151 innings last year with Toronto. He spent some time on a disabled list. The most innings he has pitched at the major league level was a season in 2000 when he split between the Rangers and the Blue Jays, and he pitched 199 1/3 innings.
Outside to Guzman, 1-2.
How can you be tired in September in a pennant race? You find that extra energy. When you're talking about 200 innings, you're not talking about 300 innings.
Gets away from Olivo. Ryan to second. Will think about third, but hold up there. Olivo with a great arm, and the ball toward the Twins dugout close to third base, and Ryan advances into scoring position on a wild pitch.
It's only the second wild pitch of the year for Esteban Loaiza. So something that he hasn't done a lot of. That ball hitting in front of the plate, and you can see the spin right there. Oliva trying to backhand it and maybe trying to get in front of it and deaden the ball.
Well, now 2-2 to Guzman. And Oliva wants to talk about it with the runner at second base. Maybe a change in signs. You know, I know you're from the old school, but pitchers, having not gone through that before, having not pitched 210, 220 innings, you don't know what to expect. It's one thing to say, okay, they got to find their second win, but physically the demands on his arm haven't been to the level that he's asking of it here in this pennant race.
You find a way to get to that next level. You have to find a way.
Bounce to the right side. Alomar knocks it down. Nobody at the bag. It's an infield hit for Guzman.
Great play right here by the Rawlings Gold Glove winner. such good range. Now he saves a run right here, Roberto Alomar. This ball was headed out toward right field, may have allowed Ryan to score. Guzzi utilizing the turf. Konerko can't get to it, but Alomar there to stop it. And Ryan can only go to third base as Alomar makes a very nice play on that infield base hit.
Alomar's not 100%. He did something on that diving attempt. Looks very much like he needs a chiropractor before tomorrow's game. Here's Stewart, drew a leadoff walk, scored a run in the first.
Infield playing back, looking for the double play.
Called strike and a bluff to third. Stewart's patience paid off and set the tone for an odd inning. The Twins, on the strength of 3 walks, scored a run in the first without getting a base hit.
Shannon Stewart has a twin since after the All-Star break, hitting .335 coming into this game.
1-1.
And Loaiza kind of changing up his game plan a little bit from the first inning where he threw so many cutters. Now 2 straight 4-seam fastballs middle in. So Loaiza maybe knowing this is the adjusting that a veteran pitcher does out there. Maybe my cutter isn't there yet. I'm going to have to go more 4-seam fastballs. There's the cutter right there and missing.
Two and 1 to Shannon Stewart. Nearly hit him. 3-1. 48 pitches, 23 strikes. And a laborious first couple innings for Esteban Loaiza.
And you struggle like he has, and the Twins have only been able to put 1 run on the board so far. This is a big pitch right here. Yes, very good numbers when he is ahead in the count for Shannon Stewart. Not bad numbers when he's behind either.
3-1 to Stewart. Ball 4, they're loaded up. This will be the 3rd plate appearance for the Twins with the bases loaded.
And Jerry Manuel, the manager, can only look and say, what's going on with my ace pitcher? 4 walks in a ball game so far for Loaiza.
White Sox had an off day yesterday, and they juggled their rotation to keep Loaiza on his regular routine, pitching on his 5th day. This was supposed to be John Garland's spot. Garland has been pushed back to tomorrow. And here's Hocking with the bases loaded. Frustrating at bat in the first inning, striking out on a check swing.
Only the 2nd time this season Loaiza has walked 4 in a ball game, that coming back against the Tigers back in May.
Strike 1.
Denny Hocking hitting .281 as a left-handed hitter. 2 of his 3 home runs coming from this side of the plate.
One strike to Hocking. And now 2. Again, Hocking with the best numbers on the team, with any substantial number of at-bats against Loaiza. 10 hits, 23 at-bats. On the ropes again here in the 2nd inning.
Well, Denny struck out the first time up. He needs to find a way to make contact.
Over the Twins dugout, still 0-2. Another mid-90s fastball. When things were going well for Loaiza, his manager Jerry Manuel said he's not seen dominance like that since Manuel was a coach with the Expos and saw Pedro Martinez. But a non-Pedro-like performance so far here tonight. Again, 2 strikes to Hocking. Foul ball catch by Konerko. White Sox had their final off day of the regular season yesterday. Spent it in Minnesota. So they start a stretch here tonight. 13 games in 13 days. And if there's a one-game playoff, 14 games in 14 days. Two strikes to Hocking.
They tried to backdoor that little slider or little cutter on the outer half of the plate. They said in Chicago that is where he's gotten a lot of his strikeouts, a little backdoor slider.
Two and two. Olivo to the mound, and the White Sox fielders have been on the field longer than the Bears defense Monday night or Sunday night.
Loaiza first came up to the major leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1995. He has pitched not only for the Pirates, the Rangers, and the Blue Jays. Loaiza making his 233rd major league start. His 266th major league appearance.
Two and two to Hocking. Pulled down the line, foul. Twins moving into first place with their win last night in Cleveland. The first time they've been alone in first place since June 30th. The challenge tonight: increase the lead. And for the second inning in a row, a great chance to open up the ball game. Another 2-2 to Hocking. Ground ball right side. Alomar with a great stop. He has one play and just barely makes it, and Alomar's flat on his back at second base. Another great stop. Taking a hit away. The Twins do score a run. And it's 2-0, and Alomar almost limping as he comes up this time.
Boy, the second great play of the inning by Alomar. This saves more runs. Denny hitting the ball sharply on this turf, and you can see how quick it got to Alomar. He dives for it. Thought about going to second, but then that little low throw right there to Paul Konerko at first gets Denny Hocking. For Denny Hocking, that RBI, his 20th of the year, as Michael Ryan makes it a 2-0 Twins lead.
Minkevich at the plate with 2 men in scoring position. Low, ball one. That gets away from Olivo. Guzman will score. And Stewart will hold it third. It's 3-0.
Stewart told go back to third base by home plate umpire Joe West. That looked like it got the shin guard of Olivo, the catcher, and deflected into the dugout of the Chicago White Sox. It'll be the second wild pitch of the inning for Loaiza, who came into this game with only one wild pitch the whole year long.
4 walks, 2 key wild pitches. 2-0 to Minkevich.
That's a ball right there that Olivo has to catch.
Check swing and a strike. Well, again, the pitcher gets charged with the wild pitch, but even the first one, Olivo tried to backhand a pitch in the dirt. Scott Schoenweis warming up in the Chicago bullpen. Blocking that one, and it's 3-1. Jock Jones on deck.
Again, Dick, you talk about big games. Brad Radke has pitched in big games. Esteban Loaiza has never really pitched in a game that is in the type of importance of tonight.
5th walk of the ball game. Minkevich twice, Stewart twice, and now Jones stands in. He walked. his first time up.
A season high for Esteban Loaiza with the 5 walks.
Talk about Radke getting his team off the field. The White Sox fielders are growing roots.
And Brad says, I will stay here as long as it takes to maybe score me some more runs.
Jones bunts. Loaiza throws and makes the play. The Twins get a couple in the second. Now lead it 3-0.
Twins up 3-0 back at the Metrodome. I'm Clay Matvick, and the news on Al Newman continues to get better as he recovers from a brain hemorrhage suffered last week in Chicago. He's talking, he's sitting up, and he's having a little bit of trouble breathing because he's asthmatic and he's recovering from a bout with pneumonia. But Ron Gardenhire said tonight in about 4 or 5 days he should return to the Twin Cities. As for when he's going to return to the team, they don't know. But until then, they're going to continue to hang his jersey in the dugout. Dick and Bert, back to you upstairs.
Good news right there.
Thank you very much, Clay. Brad Radke to Joe Creedy. The Twins had lost 2 pivotal games in the opening 2 games of the Chicago series, and they lost their very popular third base coach. At the time, nobody knew the gravity of the situation. Fouled away, and it's 0-2. And as it's turned out, it's been very serious. We keep getting encouraging news, but you have to acknowledge the fact that these players have kept their focus in a very difficult situation. And since Al was taken to the hospital, this team has won 5 of 6 games. Creedy chops one, Hocking backhands it, at least knocks it down, and Creedy's aboard with a leadoff single. Pennant race is heading down to the wire. You can plan ahead. Postseason tickets are now on sale, and you can buy a full strip of tickets for the division playoffs, the championship series, and the World Series. Call 833-TWINS or log on to twinsbaseball.com for all the important information. Creedy aboard, Olivo to the plate. Getting upset the fact he wasn't able to backhand that ball and make a play.
It would have been a tough play if he was able to hold on to that ball. 3rd hit of the ball game for the White Sox off of Brad Radke.
All back. And I think, you know, the players should be commended, Bert, because I think we've all been very prayerful about Al and hopeful that he'll come back. These guys have an immense task ahead of them, and that is to play their best baseball at the end of the season without a guy who's been so instrumental in their development, many of them in the minor leagues.
Yeah, these guys are with Al Newman for 6, 7, 8 months out of the year. So they're not only losing a great coach, they're losing a good friend.
In the short term.
Yes.
1-1 to Miguel Olivo. Chopped toward third, but foul. 1-2. Olivo and Sandy Alomar sharing the catching duties. What we've seen from the White Sox is something we've not seen from the Twins. The backup has actually backed up and played. A.J. Pierzynski. Has he had a day off since Memorial Day?
Oh, this is his 18th straight game that A.J. has caught behind the plate. 18 in a row.
2-2.
Brad looking for the double play. Olivo 1 for 4 lifetime against Brad Radke. I'm a little surprised that Sandy Alomar is not catching tonight's ball game.
There's a grounder to third. Hocking has one and can't make the relay. The throw from Koski sailed into the runner a little bit. The Twins got the important one. 1 down.
Well, you want to make sure you get that leadoff runner or that lead runner, and Corey Koski does that, and it's up to the second baseman to try to turn a double play. Now, this ball thrown hard, but a little bit of an in shoot right there, and Denny Hocking deciding, hey, I'll get the 1 out.
An in-shoot. You learned that from Bob Feller. That was an old-time pitcher's term back there.
No, in-shoot. Bob called his little cutter the old Navy pitch, the old cutter, the old sailor.
Oh, okay. Ball one to Roberto Alomar. Got a base hit to start the ball game. Got as far as third base. It's a 3-0 Twins lead, but Brad Radke, everybody in the ballpark should know it. There's the old sailor right there.
Yeah, the old Navy pitch.
This White Sox team very powerful. And Alomar will be on base, which means that the White Sox will have the tying run coming to the plate. First and second, one away. Nice play by Hunter in center, keeping the slow-footed Olivo from third.
Critics are calling the Best Damn Sports Show a 2-hour frat party with inside interviews on Sharp Locker Room banner. Tonight, we break down last night's crazy football game between the Giants and the Cowboys with Quincy Carter and Michael Strahan. Plus, Mark Grace checks in for the Major League Baseball postseason. The Best Damn Sports Show period tonight at 10:30, only on Fox Sports Net.
And the Chicago Power comes up early in the lineup with Lee hitting second. Breaking ball down and away. Lee with a base hit in the first inning. He left Sunday's game at Fenway Park with a sprained ankle. Had yesterday to recover and said there's no way he's going to be out of the lineup tonight. But at less than 100% with his running speed, he becomes a more likely candidate to hit into a double play.
Oh, Radke trying to jam him right there. Very good since the All-Star break. 50 RBIs for Carlos Lee.
He's hit into 19 double plays. Nub to the right side. Hocking gets the runner at second base. Lee reaches on a fielder's choice, 2 away.
Good play right there by Denny Hocking. He had enough time to get Alomar at second base. There's no chance of a double play, but this does set up. In case of a base hit, only one run would score. Try to get the lead runner. Denny does that.
Radke baffled the Chicago hitters with his changeup on Thursday, throwing a few more breaking balls. Here, got Lee to hit it right off the end of the bat. I know this. It's going to be a long 3 games for Twins fans if Frank Thomas comes to the plate with 2 men on base every time. Came up in the first with runners at first and second, nobody out, and Radke got a big double play ball. Thomas, just the 10th time this year he's hit into a double play. Just off the inside corner, ball 1.
And that's where you want to pitch the big hurt, down and in or up and in. He likes to extend those arms. Frank Thomas, the all-time home run leader for the Chicago White Sox. Currently 33rd on the all-time home run list with 416 career home runs.
1-1. What he says has turned his season around. The acknowledgement that he's a power hitter. His days of hitting 300, for heaven's sakes, this guy won a batting championship. He says his days of hitting over 300 might be behind him. He realizes now his value to this team and whoever he plays for next year comes in the power department.
5th time he has hit 40 home runs or more in his career.
2-1.
Yeah, he won the batting title back in 1997 when he hit 347 for the White Sox. First joined the White Sox back in 1990.
Radke in a bit of a jam here in the 3rd. 2-1 to Thomas. High fly ball left field.
On a changeup.
Hunter. Inning over. Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Bigger, better, more tropical than ever. And by Jeep. See your local Jeep dealer.
Now, Dick, you have a note?
Yeah, those folks from Montana. And Jordan's 1 year old today, and he's making far less out of his birthday than you do.
Well, did you not get a note that says he's 1 year old? So they are making a big deal out of it. Jordan, happy birthday. And you are hereby circled.
Corey Koski taking ball one. Corey driving in the first run of the game, a sacrifice fly to Lee in left.
Thanks for asking. 202 more days until my birthday.
I don't think that was in the form of a request at all. 2-0. Loaiza with back-to-back innings where he threw more than 30 pitches in an inning.
63 pitches in the first 2 innings, coming into his 3rd inning of work. Corey with that sacrifice fly, driving in his 65th run of the year.
Loaiza's been a great story, and in other circumstances we might wish him his 20th win at some point down the road. But won't you acknowledge that there are some pitchers who simply hit a wall earlier than others? Pulled foul, and it's 3-2.
No.
Mark Redmond, the former Twin, had a good year going, and he got to the 200 innings pitch level, and he said, my arm's dead. I can't. It's not that he didn't want to pitch. He just couldn't find the stamina.
It's hard for me to even believe someone would say my arm is tired. I mean, you get fatigued, you get maybe a little tired, but you don't come out and say, okay, I pitched 200 innings, I'm done.
You didn't, but some pitchers just don't have the stamina.
That's probably why he's in Florida right now.
I know it's why he's not here. A fly to right field, Ordonez and Alomar, and it's Ordonez with the catch, 1 away. 1 down in the 3rd. The Dodge Power Performers. Since the All-Star break, the Twins have the best record in not just the American League, the Major League.
Yeah, the Twins 37-20. Oakland just 1 more loss in 1 more game played. Also, the Yankees and the Red Sox are number 4 and 5 on that list.
You expect Oakland to be there every year they do it. They have a red hot second half. Last year they ran off in the second half 20 wins in a row. 1 strike to Hunter. And now a ball. At the All-Star break, the Royals were leading Chicago by 7, the Twins by 7.5. Fouled into the crowd, and it's 1-2. And that's why we talked about it last night. I think you agree. Whoever emerges from this division to represent the division in the playoffs should be reckoned with. Right now, it would look as if Minnesota or Chicago would face either the Yankees or the A's. And Hunter shoots into right field, a base hit. Ordonez fumbles it for a moment. Hunter will hold up with a 1-out single. Game 2 of this series tomorrow, and you can see a great ball game and eat a hot dog for $1 apiece. The Hormel Dollar a Dog game presented by Country Hearth Bakeries, and the first 20,000 Hormel hot dogs will be sold for $1, limit 2 per customer. And a tip, we're expecting more than 20,000 customers tomorrow, so get here early. Every fan counts. You can call 800-33-TWINS for tickets.
I think you're right, Dick. Whoever wins this division is going to be, maybe going into the postseason pretty hot. But the thing what you have, though, is you have the Oakland A's, and here's another base hit for the Twins.
Hunter around second on his way to 3rd, and the Twins are right back with a threat in the 3rd inning.
A.J. not wasting any time, jumping on the first pitch and driving it into right center. 4th hit of the ball game for the Twins with the 5 walks allowed by Loaiza. And that ball hit in that gap right there allows Torrey to get the 3rd. So runners at the corners, 1 out.
A.J. finally got a chance to get to first base and talk over his first at bat with Bill Miller. Remember, A.J. hit that grounder right over the bag. A.J. thought it was foul, and Bill Miller said it was fair. And here's Michael Ryan and Olivo to the mound for the 40th time tonight. Well, we're talking about the playoff matchups, and I mean, my goodness, when the White Sox will face the Yankees next weekend. Schoenweiss warming up again. The Twins faced the Yankees early when they were, I'm not sure the 1927 Yankees could have beaten the 2003 Yankees when the Twins were playing them. But now the Yankees aren't the team that the Twins saw in April.
Yeah, but they have the Boston Red Sox pushing them.
Right.
I mean, they're only 5.5 games behind. So, you know, then in the West, you have Seattle trying to catch the Oakland A's.
Jerry Manuel to the mound, and it might be that Loaiza will have a very short outing here tonight. He has faced 16 batters and retired 7 of them. Manuel, a very slow walk to the mound, no motion yet toward the bullpen.
I think what you have too is you have John Garland sitting somewhere on the bench saying, I should have pitched tonight.
Garland went to the newspapers and complained a little bit about the fact that he was taken out. Not Joe West and Jerry Manuel have a long discussion on the mound.
Well, Jerry Manuel might be asking Joe West, listen, what do I do in this situation? Okay, I'll bring in my left-hander.
Second time in 2 starts, the Twins have denied Loaiza his 20th win of the year.
Well, shortest outing of the year for Esteban Loaiza. His other shortest outing, you have to go back to May 2nd in Chicago against the Seattle Mariners, where he went 3 2/3 innings.
It wasn't the 4 hits that did him in, it was the 5 walks.
Yeah, a lot of pitches thrown by Loaiza in 2 1/3 innings. Menard's pitching change, bringing in Scott Schoenweiss. Schoenweiss starting the season with the Anaheim Angels, getting traded over to the Chicago White Sox, making his 56th appearance overall, his 17th as a Chicago White Sox.
Michael Ryan singled against Loaiza. First and third, 1 away. The Twins already lead it 3-0. Base hit, right field. Hunter scores, and it's 4-0, and Ryan continues to be a late season catalyst.
Well, Gardy's staying with a hot hand, and that's been Michael Ryan out in right field. Sure, he'll take one in the head. Made a great catch yesterday, gets his second single right here, driving in his second run of the ball game. Not wasting any time, jumping on that first pitch from Schoenweiss in the right field.
First and second, 1 away, and Guzman at the plate. Deep to left field. She is caught by Lee at the fence. Carlos Lee with a great catch. He may have taken away a 3-run home run.
You do not see this too often, where an outfielder will take his eye off the ball, but Lee got turned around a little bit right here. Guzzi trying to hit his 3rd home run in 4 days, takes Carlos Lee back, and Lee does finally pick up that ball and makes a nice catch. Don't know if that ball had enough to get out or not, but a nice catch by Carlos Lee.
And now Shannon Stewart, who drew a pair of walks against Loaiza. Fastball inside. There have been games in here certainly with more people, more fans in it, but I don't know that the Metrodome could have gotten any louder than it would have been had Guzman hit a 3-run home run. Down the right field line, and that'll twist foul. Stewart, a leadoff walk and a run scored in the first, and then another walk against Loaiza. Against Schoenweiss, 6 hits, 22 at bats. To left field, and Lee will have a much easier play for the 3rd out. The Twins get 3 singles and another run in the third.
Yes, we all agree. Get well soon, Al. You are hereby circled. And the Twins do rock.
Maglio Ordonez leads off the fourth for Chicago. Drilled to center. Hunter puts it on a hop, and it's another leadoff single for the White Sox. They've led off 3 of the 4 innings with base hits. Now, quite a contrast. Although Radke's not the pitcher on the edge of his 20th win, here Loaiza was behind hitters all night long. And the White Sox have seen enough from Radke to know that the first pitch you get might be the best one to hit. We've seen so many of their hitters swing at the first pitch.
And the thing right now about this ball game, it's only a 4-0 game. Twins have left 6 runners on base the first 3 innings. So this was Chicago White Sox ball club since the All-Star break. They're averaging almost 6 runs per game. So they know they can score runs. And Brad Radke knows exactly that too.
Everett at the plate. He popped up to Hocking in short center field his first time up. It's an awesome pitch.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you got a quality hitter right here in Everett. And watch this changeup right here. Everett way out front. But it's also the location of that changeup.
And a liner to Hocking to first. Safe. Ordonez just got back. 1 away.
Oh, good try right here by Denny Hocking. Minkiewicz trying to do the old, I'm going to catch it with my foot off the bag and see if I'll get the call from Bill Miller. But the throw you want, like Denny did. And Ordonez getting back on that line drive out off the bat of Everett.
Every time I see that play, you know what I flash back to?
Kent Hrbek.
Monday in Arlington, Texas, 1987. The game-ending play. You guys clinched the division championship. A soft line drive off the bat of Odemi McDowell.
Lombardozzi made the catch.
Yes.
Did he not?
Yes.
You saw Lombo in Baltimore when you were out there?
I didn't. I wasn't in Baltimore. But
oh, you weren't? Oh, that's right. Oh, we saw Lombo in Baltimore, Dick.
I was watching. Konerko with a bouncer to third, his first time up. And just off the inside corner, ball 1. It seems a bit peculiar, and maybe with the unbalanced schedule it shouldn't be, but this is the 7th time that Radke has faced the same team in back-to-back starts. Bouncer to third. Koski out there, and the relay to first. They got the double play. The throw sailed on Koski again. This time Hocking had time to complete the double play.
Clay Matvick back here at the Metrodome, where it's 4-0 Twins, and Esteban Loaiza, an atypical night, 2 1/3 innings, his shortest outing of the year and 5 walks, a season high. Well, one reason for this might be he didn't feel so good tonight. He told reporters before the game that he felt under the weather. He was coughing and congested, so it might be an excuse for an otherwise atypical night for Esteban Loaiza. And you got to wonder, Dick and Bert, if this isn't going to put a chink in his chances for a Cy Young Award.
Well, he's human. My goodness, he had an off night.
Couldn't find the plate. That was one of his undoings. Here's Denny Hocking.
Denny now getting an opportunity to hit from the right side of the plate. He's hit only 189 as a right-handed hitter this year.
Inside, 1-1. Oh, one of the best parts of this job, or part of this wonderful series, this great game. And then Harmon Killebrew walks in the booth.
Class man. I'm not going to find anybody classier than Harmon Killebrew.
Harmon in town for this big series. So many former Twins who don't live here are here. For one reason or another, Rick Aguilera was here.
Yeah, Aggie told me he was here for a business meeting with some friends and just wanted to come by the ballpark and wish everybody good luck.
Yeah, you know, there's a little suspicion going around the building that now that the Twins are in first place by themselves, now all these guys are showing up.
Well, we saw Aggie in Anaheim
Yes.
earlier this year.
Still very close to so many of the uniformed people. 1-2 to Denny Hocking. And a strikeout from Schoenweiss, 1 away.
Schoenweiss picking up his first strikeout.
Third time in a little less than a year where a Chicago pitcher's had a chance to win 20 against the Twins, and they're 0 for 3.
Well, last year, Mark Burley going for his 20th victory, denied as the Twins beat him 3-2.
He had beaten the Twins in his 5 prior starts last year, and the Twins eked out the home run the win thanks to the late home run by Kelty. Here's Minkevich. Ball 1. Last White Sox pitcher to win 20 games was Jack McDowell, and he did it against the Twins in 1993 here at the Dome. 2-0. Minkevich, one of several Twins, not the most popular on the south side of Chicago after Minkevich was critical of Chicago fans and their behavior. Minkevich suggesting that they ought to consider moving the All-Star game. General manager Kenny Williams suggested Minkevich, of all people, shouldn't be the least bit concerned about the All-Star game, looking at his numbers. Let's say this: if there was a postseason All-Star game, Minkevich would get some strong consideration.
Well, sometimes you say things out of frustration like Doug did right there, and Kenny Williams just reacting. That's part of the game. That's part of reporters maybe egging you into a comment like that.
But the point is, this guy, after a slow start this year, has put together an all-star type of year.
He really has. Again, since the All-Star break, hitting over .330.
And now 3-2. And what we've seen from him throughout this wonderful second half that he's had, very few at-bats where he gives the at-bat away. Players talk about, oh, I just gave the at-bat away. I didn't have a good at-bat. More often than not, he gives you a great at-bat. And here is called out on strikes for out number 2.
Schoenweiss hitting that inner half of the plate, picks up his second straight strikeout.
2 down, and trivia time. Torrey Hunter in your picture. Maybe he's part of the answer, or maybe he came up with the question.
Affleck.
Who was the last Twin to drive in 100 runs in a season?
You have to go back a couple years ago.
Jock Jones has walked, tried to reach on a bunt, and was thrown out by Loaiza. Foul back, 1 strike.
Jock 0 for 6 against Scott Schoenweiss.
Half swing, but he went, and it's 0-2. What we saw in the opening game of the series last week in Chicago was Twin starter Kyle Osh have a very rough start, but he fought through it and ended up pitching 5 shutout innings after the 5-run first. Here, a complete destruction of Esteban Loaiza with the 5 hits, the 4 hits, and the 5 walks. He was unable to pitch deep into the ballgame.
Yeah, just a lot of pitches in a short amount of time, and not the control that Loaiza has had throughout the season.
1-2 to Jones. Foul ball. Twins, who in Cleveland saw 3 straight left-handed starting pitchers. Finally a right-hander yesterday in Jason Davis. Now will face right-handers throughout this series. Garland tomorrow, Cologne on Thursday.
Schoenweiss picked up from the Anaheim Angels. Now he's 29 years old in his 5th season at the major league level. He came up as a reliever, but then put in the starting rotation of the Angels. So he's one of those lefties out of the bullpen that's a good pickup for the Chicago White Sox because he can give them some necessary innings in situations like this.
Jones lays off. It's 2-2. Life is day to day for Jacques Jones in terms of how his sore groin affects him, whether he'll be able to play in the field throughout this homestand. Jammed in a tapper foul.
There's a lot of players banged up, and Jacques Jones still need his bat in the lineup. Torrey Hunter banged up. Corey Koski banged up. It's a long season, 162 games.
2-2 to Jones, and now a full count. And it's just a handful of games, but Jacques might be one of those players who needs to play in the field. Some hitters just have a tough time adapting to the DH role. Jammed here, and he's drawn his second walk.
First walk for Schoenweis, sixth walk taken by the Twins.
And now Koski will hit. Corey drove in the first run of the game with a sacrifice fly to left in the first, and then lifted a fly ball to right.
Corey Koski 4 for 9 against Scott Schoenweis with a double, couple RBIs.
His front foot, and there's another bag of ice after the game for Corey Koski.
We're walking to the clubhouse after the game, and Jim Common, Rick McWayne, they have about, I'd have to say, 15, 20 towels that they use to fill with ice. There's Jim Common right there. Ice the pitchers down. They're talking about it right there. Who's going to go up and get the ice? Rick McWayne along with Jim Common, the two trainers there for the Twins.
Up high, 1-1. That's why for whoever goes through the balance of this season and wins the division, it would be nice for that team, whether it's the Twins or Chicago or Kansas City, to win it without having to play to the last day, or to have to go through a one-game playoff, which is very much a possibility. In the case of the Twins, at least half the regular starting lineup is just playing on duct tape, ice, and Advil. You get to this point of the season and you've got a lot of bumps and bruises. Pierzynski catching in 18 straight games. Hunter's back is sore. Rivas has a sore back. And Kavich. Jones takes off and the pitch bounced foul.
Great game, isn't it?
But really, I mean, as fun as it is to watch, unlike other sports, football you play once a week, and no one's trying to diminish the physical demands of football or basketball or hockey. But this is such a grind, this game, every day. And you're in a pennant race. Last year, the Twins had the division clinched, and they could rest players and could allow bumps and bruises to heal. That doesn't appear to be the case this year.
That's why they invented coffee.
Koski swings and misses. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Schoenweis. And we head to the 5th with the Twins up 4-0.
BP.
Each team with 5 singles, but the Twins taking advantage of erratic control by Esteban Loaiza have opened up a 4-0 lead, and Brad Radke will face the bottom third of the White Sox batting order.
And what Brad's been able to do is put zeros on the board. Now, over his year, he's struggled the first couple innings, and usually this time of the year he gets into a pretty good groove. Brad's allowed 5 hits, but all of them singles.
Up and in to Jose Valentin. Valentin a strikeout victim for the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. Just off the inside corner, and it's 2-0. Talking about Radke and how this is the 7th time he's faced the same team in back-to-back starts. Strike 2 and 1. Back-to-back starts against the Blue Jays, a loss and a no decision. Back-to-back wins against Tampa Bay. Back-to-back losses against these White Sox at the end of June and early July. Fouled away 2 and 2. Back-to-back wins against the Orioles. A loss and a win against the Indians, and then in his very recent starts, a no decision and a win against Texas. So cumulatively 6 and 4 against teams he's faced in back-to-back starts.
And sometimes that's very difficult.
Weak little pop-up to Guzman. 1 away. So Valentin retired for the first out of the 5th inning. Our Aflac trivia question and answer. We believe it to be Corey Costin.
Yeah, got to go to third base for that. 103 RBIs a couple seasons ago.
1 down in the 5th. Creedy at the plate, singled his last time up. Hit a chopper over the mound, and Hocking got a glove on it. Here's another chopper to third. Koski to Minkiewicz, 2 away.
Corey fighting the lights a little bit right there, but makes the play.
Now you say it can be tough. Radke, have you seen any difference in his approach here tonight than the approach he used Thursday?
No, he told me in Cleveland when we talked about his changeup and then also going to face the Chicago White Sox or any club for the second time. He said, I don't really try to change my approach because everything for me keys off my fastball. Control my fastball, that makes my changeup better. He said, since the All-Star break, his breaking ball, he feels, is getting better. There's a breaking ball right there. He tried to drop over for strike 1. Radke in his 9th season with the Twins. 114 wins. 110 losses in his career. He's making his 282nd start in a Twins uniform.
2-0 from Radke to Olivo. And 2-1. And where control was Loaiza's undoing, Radke, of course, among the best. He did walk a couple of Chicago. No, I beg your pardon. He didn't walk anyone in his last start and hasn't walked anyone in September.
And look at that. Great control. Fastball, outer half of the plate. Everything keys off the fastball for Brad Radke or any pitcher at the major league level. That fastball, 90 miles an hour. Now will he throw a changeup? He does. And gets his strikeout.
Exactly the man the Twins wanted on the mound last Thursday in Chicago and again here tonight.
You know what? Brad Radke just goes about his business. He doesn't get sometimes the limelight that other pitchers do. I remember when Kerry Woods came in here 3-4 years ago. Everybody, Kerry Woods this, Kerry Woods that. Well, Brad Radke shut out the Cubs that night and won the game over Kerry Woods.
Torrey Hunter leads off the 5th, and it's bounced into the Twins dugout right at Brad Radke. Great. Good idea. Strike 1. And Olivo to the mound again.
I think he's been talking to Carlton Fisk.
Well, great. We'll be here for another couple hours. Schoenweiss upset in Anaheim. He thought he should have been included in the rotation, which in a sense you can understand that because the Anaheim rotation, even when they won the World Series a year ago, was not a dominant rotation. And this year they've had all sorts of injury problems and other issues. Inside 1-1.
Well, the reason he was upset because in 2001 he made 32 starts. He pitched 205 in a third innings, and then the next year, last year, when they won the World Series, he pitched in 54 games, made only 15 starts, and was 9-8.
2-1. It'll be Hunter, Pierzynski, and Ryan.
And then this year he went to spring training hoping to start, and it didn't happen. Doesn't he know that left-handers are so valuable out in the bullpen?
driven foul. It does look as if Torrey Hunter is saving his best hitting for September when the Twins need it most. For much of the season, it's been a frustrating year for Torrey, but he's making solid contact more frequently this month than any of the 5 prior months, and he just uncoiled at that pitch.
Well, you see, he upsetted himself right there. Schoenweiss left a breaking ball up, and in the month of September, Torrey Hunter hitting almost 300.
Still wants to hit 30 home runs, is on the verge of hitting, driving in 100 runs. 2-2 from Schoenweiss. And now full count. And Pierzynski on deck. Fouled away.
Torrey Hunter 3 for 9 against Schoenweiss with a double and a couple home runs.
Another 3-2 to Hunter. Ball 4. And at least one walk in every inning but the third when the Twins got 3 singles. We're approaching the final weekend of the Twins home season, better known as Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by Freshetta. Friday through Sunday, the Twins will be honoring fans for your great support this year. Great prizes, great giveaways, including a Twins fan on Friday, courtesy of Rainbow Foods.
You're giving a fan away?
Tickets and details, call 833-TWINS. Yeah, a fan will be given away to every fan.
Oh, very nice. Remember that fan that we had in Cleveland trying for the Twins to hit more home runs?
Yes, didn't work.
No. Cleveland hit 3, we didn't hit any.
AJ with a base hit his last time up.
AJ 2 for 2 lifetime against Scott Schoenweiss.
Konerko fires to second. Pierzynski beats the relay, 1 away. So 1 down, and AJ will be at first, and Michael Ryan will come to the plate.
AJ getting jammed right there, and Konerko getting the force out of Torrey Hunter at second base for the first out.
This young man, Michael Ryan, has turned into one of the remarkable stories of what might be a storybook season for the Minnesota Twins. And a chopper. Alomar quickly shovels it to Konerko for out number 2. John Guzman with a single and a near home run his last time up.
Well, in Cleveland, this is his first home run of the year and 600 at-bats. And last night's ball game from the left side of the plate. Home run number 2. That's a 2-run home run. And tonight, taking Carlos Lee to the wall. Well, Christian Guzman, how Scotty Alger would like him to hit down on the ball, now all of a sudden finding some power.
Jerry White, the first base coach. We're going to have a trip to the mound here. Don Cooper coming to the mound. Jerry White, the first base coach for the Twins, said he was expecting Guzman to hit his first home run soon because they were working on bunting. And Jerry White's philosophy is, look, if you're bunting, you're watching the ball come down and hit the barrel of the bat. The very same thing a good hitter does, rather than pulling your head off the ball. There's Scott Sullivan warming up.
Guzzi has power.
But
he's a type of hitter. How he's going to benefit the Twins organization is getting on base. And how does he do that? Trying to make good, solid contact and utilizing the turf here at the Metrodome.
Schoenweiss got to spend some more up close and personal time with Miguel Olivo as pitching coach Don Cooper came to the ball.
I really don't understand what that little conversation was all about. Now with 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
Popped up over our heads.
Which is not unusual.
There's a lot of things that get over our heads. Still, it's nice to have a number 9 hitter who can drive the ball from time to time if you pick your spots. This might not be one of them. We got Brzezinski at second base in scoring position. Hit to the outfield, might score another run.
Leading the American League with Nomar Garciaparra with 13 triples. Guzzi with 15 doubles on the year. A couple seasons ago hit a career high 10 home runs. Last year 9 home runs for Guzzi.
And a strike, 1 and 2.
I remember when he hit that home run on Saturday night, the reaction of his teammates, everybody smiling. It relaxed a lot of people. And that's what you need once in a while, just little things to happen like Guzzi hitting the home run.
1 and 2 to Guzman. And strike 3. Guzman's gone. The Twins come up empty in the 5th, but lead it 4-0. Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Chrysler. See your local Chrysler dealer. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards. We're at the Dome, and the Twins are leading 4-0, starting the 6th inning. As they do after 5 innings here, the grounds crew comes out and rakes up the dirt around first, second, and third base, and around home plate a little bit too. Many trips as there have been to the mound for the White Sox. They got to rake the mound. There's Alomar, a pair of singles. He's had a marvelous game here tonight with 2 great defensive plays. Keep the Twins from busting the game open. Now 2-0.
2 of the 5 hits off of Brad Radke. Brad right now 64 pitches in the ball game, 43 strikes.
And every time Radke's gone 2-0, the count has fallen quickly to 2-1.
Yeah, no walks in the ball game for Brad with a couple strikeouts.
Two and 2.
Brad has won his last 4 games, currently on a 4-game winning streak. Second time this season he's had a 4-game winning streak. Again, 7-1 since the All-Star break.
To right field, hit hard. Michael Ryan with his glove makes the catch. Liner for the first out of the 6th inning. And here's our Carsoup.com email question. Joe Franchik. Franzak. He's from Champlin Park. Joe asks about Michael Ryan and whether with his impact here in recent games, whether he might be a candidate to be on the postseason roster in right field.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if Jock Jones continues to have that groin injury, Michael Ryan, the way that he continues to swing a hot bat the way he is, yes, he's going to be out there as long as a right-hander's out on the mound. You're going to still see Dustin Moore out in right field when a left-hander starts.
The Twins have so much flexibility built into their playoff roster because of pitchers on the disabled list, position players. It's 2-1. Michael Kadire called up to be eligible. Lou Ford. I mean, because of the injury situation on the 25-man roster, there's that changeup 2-2. The Twins have the ability, for instance, to put Eric Milton on the playoff roster.
You know, Carlos Lee in his first at bat, he was sitting on that changeup and he still can't hit that darn thing. Like I'm trying to hit a butterfly.
2-2 to Lee. Dumped to center field as Lee sticks the bat out and picks up a 1-out single here in the 6th.
And Lee picks up his second hit of the ball game off of Radke. Now 6 hits off of Radke, all of them singles.
And there are no soft spots, or at least very few of them, in this Chicago lineup. So every time they get a base runner, somebody capable of hitting the ball over the fence usually follows, and that's Thomas in this case. He's come up with 5 men on in his 3 plate appearances. delivers a strike.
And I think we say that only because the power that they have, 208 home runs as a team. But of the 16 games played between the Twins and the White Sox so far this year, White Sox have hit 26 home runs, while the Twins have hit only 13.
And into the hole left, two left, a base hit. And the White Sox have 2 singles in 3 different innings. And the White Sox starting to mount a threat here in the 6th. Game 2 of the series coming up tomorrow. Kenny Rogers against John Garland. Coverage beginning at 6:30. Another Twins ticket pregame show right here on Fox Sports Net, your home for Twins baseball. We've had a line drive out and a pair of singles here in the 6th inning. And Ordonez at the plate.
And now you face the hottest hitter again since the All-Star break. Ordonez coming into this ball game hitting .371 since after the break. Good numbers against Brad Radke.
Popped up left field. Shannon Stewart coming in. And it's Hunter with the catch. 2 away. Ordonez in his 3 at-bats has seen a total of 3 pitches. 2 down, and here comes Carl Everett. Talking with one of the Twins hitters about the pitching matchups that were in the last series and why things seem to turn around for the Twins in the second half of that series. There's Kelly Wunsch warming up. Now, the second game, the Twins started Carlos Pulido, and nobody knew really what to expect. So let's just take that game out and contrast Loesch with Santana and Radke outside. In Loesch's case, the split between his fastball and his second pitch is 6 miles per hour, 7 miles per hour.
Yeah, he has
it's a
little
slider.
Bit, yeah, more of a curveball is probably his slowest pitch, along with a changeup. But yeah, I know where you're going with Brad Radke and Santana because of the difference between the fastball and the changeup.
Over Hocking into right field. Lee coming home. Here's a throw from Ryan, and he is safe at the plate. A very good throw from Ryan, but Lee slides in, and the White Sox are on the board.
Carl Everett getting jammed right here, but strong enough to hit it over the leaping Denny Hocking at second base. Michael Ryan makes a good throw to A.J. Pierzynski, but with 2 outs, Carlos Lee he's on the move, and it's a strong throw, but Carlos Lee just gets that right foot on home plate before A.J. can apply the tag.
See, A.J. had to reach in front of the plate to catch the throw and come back with the tag. And now here's Konerko representing the tying run.
Good call right there by home plate umpire Joe West. Carl Everett picking up his 84th RBI with that single.
White Sox out hitting the Twins 8-5. All 13 hits have been singles. Strike 1. The White Sox had a threat in the first, another threat in the third, and now here in the 6th, they finally click and get 3 singles and their first run.
And we talked about Ordonez since the All-Star break. Look at those numbers since the All-Star break. Hitting .291.
1 strike to Konerko. 2 strikes. Konerko with 2 choppers to Corey Koski. To Konerko. Foul, and not by much. And that probably would have scored 2 had it been fair.
Boy, it looked like they were trying to pitch Konerko in on all 3 pitches, and Konerko opened up right here on a fastball inside, and that ball just missing that third base bag, going foul. Good effort by Corey Koski, but it's a foul ball. Brad ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
0-2 to Konerko. Change up, dribbled toward short. Guzman sets and fires, inning over. 3 singles, a Chicago run. Twins lead by 3. You're watching Twins baseball on Fox Sports Net.
Welcome back to the Metrodome. Twins hold on to that 4-1 lead. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and the descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins.
Shannon Stewart leading off the 6th inning against Scott Schoenweiss. White Sox have one back. They've taken a run off the Twins lead, and now the Twins will try to answer with a run or more here in the 6th.
Schoenweiss has come in and done a pretty good job of only allowing the first pitch hit to Michael Ryan in the 3rd inning.
Konerko with a half-hearted chase. Now in right field, it's Ordonez who comes up a couple of steps short. One of the turning points of this season for the Twins might have been Shannon Stewart's hit against Troy Percival that led to 2 runs. The big collision at home, Benji Molina and Dustin Moore with the collision, and then Stewart running all the way around to score. And the Twins won an improbable game against the Angels to win that series. Inside. There are longtime Twins followers I've talked to who have talked of that play the same way they talk about Harmon Killebrew's home run against Pete Mickelson right before the 1965 All-Star game. The Twins went on to go to the World Series, lost the series in 7 games, and we don't know what will happen with this Twins team, whether they'll even get to the playoffs, or if they do, how long they'll go. But clearly, whether this team wins 90 games, 93 games, wherever they finish. Popped up near first, and Konerko and Alomar will stare at it. Alomar with the catch. If the Twins get to postseason play, that one play will be remembered for years to come.
I think also picking up after the All-Star break. I mean, in Twins history, they haven't really made a trade like Shannon Stewart. A lot of the players credit Shannon Stewart for coming into every game with his attitude. But remember, Shannon Stewart has played the game for 9 seasons with the Toronto Blue Jays before he came here. So he's the veteran, I think, that Torrey Hunter, Jock Jones, and some of the other Twins players look up to.
Hocking takes a strike from Schoenweiss.
And he's been a big key to the success of the Twins after the All-Star break.
We did a pregame thing on fortunate bounces, good things that happen over the course of a season, or in the Twins case in the second half of this season. And when Roy Smalley was up here filling in for you a couple of weeks ago, I asked him whether there was a game like that Angels game. Here's a looper to right, Ordonez in for the catch and out number 2. And I know you watched the telecast, maybe you come up with the same answer, but was there a play or a game in '87 where you left the ballpark thinking, you know what, this is our year? In Roy's case, it was Puckett's 11 for 12 on a Saturday and a Sunday in Milwaukee.
Yeah, definitely. That was a turning point. It was funny, that year was a lot of things happened in spring training. We ended up getting Dan Gladden in 1987 in spring training, and we just gelled great together. Great bat toss right there by Doug Mankiewicz.
Wow.
That bat just going foul.
Now, do you judge a bat toss on where it first makes contact, or do you credit the bounce?
I came up with the Twins in 1970, and Tony Oliva could do that with the best of them. So that's one of the all-time, maybe top 10 bat tosses right there.
That landed beyond the dirt at first base. It's like long jump in track. They measure, where the heel hits in the sand, and you don't get credit for the bounce.
But going back to the '87 season, we just gelled together as the season went on, and Finally, when we did clinch it, yeah, we lost this last 6 in a row, big deal, but we were playing good together as a ball club. That's what the Twins, I think, feel that they're doing this season. They're starting to gel at the right time as a ball club.
The fact of the matter is, since the All-Star break, they're playing better baseball than they did in either half last year when they won the division comfortably. I mean, this team from the All-Star break on is playing the best baseball of 30 teams. 1-2 to Minkiewicz. And a strikeout. Schoenweiss is doing his best to keep the White Sox in the game. It's a 4-1 Twins lead.
Four to 1 Twins. Don't forget another edition of the Twins postgame show coming immediately following tonight's game. Jim Souhan, our baseball insider, is here, and Dick and Bert were talking a couple innings ago about how teams that are in the pennant race right now undoubtedly have injuries. The Twins are one of them, but they have to play through it.
Yeah, I talked to Doug Minkiewicz a lot on this last road trip. His wrist is killing him. He said he has ligament damage, tendon damage, cartilage damage, bone damage. He knows he's going to have surgery after the season, and yet he walks into Gardy's office every day and says, I want to play tonight. I have to play tonight. And he's been playing great.
Doug's a gamer. You're a gamer. You'll be on our post-game show after the game.
Play through the pain. Yes, sir.
All right. Dick and Bert, back to you.
That's a lot of pain sitting with Clay.
Any body parts that you'd like to mention that are really painful, Clay? 1-1 to Jose Valentin.
Clay left the house.
32,000, well, almost 33,000 the paid attendance tonight. Here's a high fly to center. Playable for Hunter. One down, and one of the fans here tonight, our Pepsi fan of the game.
Well, let's see who they found. He looks like a Twins fan. I bet he wants to say hello to his mother. Good to see so many fans here tonight. Our Pepsi fan of the game.
You know, there was some concern about attendance here, but the Twins had great walk-up sales really all day long today, and to get this crowd well over 30,000 is some accomplishment. And a bouncer foul. 1-1.
Well, it's tough this time of the year because of school. A lot of the people from the outstates areas cannot make it in during the week.
Well, it's such a, you know, I remember in '87 the magic number was inside of 10. The Rangers were in town, and we know how captivated the whole region was, and the Twins were drawing 18,000 a game. It's a different world in most markets once school starts. Kids have to go to school tomorrow morning.
Right. Brian Daubach looks like he's on deck. Going to face Brad Radke.
1-2 to Joe Creedy. A two-hopper to Guzman. 2 away. You can gear up for the stretch run with a great selection of MLB authentic home and road jerseys, caps, and more at twinsbaseball.com. And remember, log on to twinsbaseball.com tonight. Get your tickets for the rest of the huge White Sox series and fan appreciation weekend. Tonight's crowd will be the largest midweek September crowd since September of 1991.
Very nice. Nice going, Twins fans. Brian Daubach being pinch hitting right here for the catcher Olivo. Brian Daubach, very good numbers against Brad Radke. 11 for 30, a .367 batting average, and 3 of the 11 home runs, or 3 of the 11 hits have been home runs.
Ball high.
Daubach as a pinch hitter this year for the White Sox, 2 for 17. Great changeup right there.
He's the guy the Red Sox decided to rid themselves of to get David Ortiz. Ortiz essentially filling a role that Daubach filled with the Red Sox for a number of years.
Daubach had some good years for the Red Sox.
Yes, he did.
Some power years.
Behind third, and Koski over for a look. Near the railing, and no play. And obviously Ortiz, a key guy for the Red Sox. He might be their best hitter in the second half. Red Sox coming into play today with a game-and-a-half lead over the Mariners in the wild card race. The Mariners look like they're going to lose again tonight. Boston's already won. 1-2 to Daubach. Just got a piece of it. And I know fans are already looking ahead in Chicago, Minnesota, and Kansas City. With whichever team comes out of this division will play the winner of either the West or the East, and it depends not on who has the best record, but which division produces the wild card. In other words, if the wild card comes from the East, then the division winner from the other division will play that wild card, and the Twins will play the Yankees. Swing and a miss. Radke cleans up the seventh with a 1-2-3 inning. Nearly 33,000 paid here tonight at the Metrodome. They're glad they came because Brad Radke has followed up a great performance against the White Sox Thursday in Chicago with another big one here tonight.
Well, you know, going into the game, Dick, you thought with Loaiza on the mound and Radke on the mound, it's going to be a 2-1, 3-1 type ball game. And really, Loaiza was not on in tonight's ball game. 3 walks in the first inning, 2 walks in the second inning. And Loaiza, who came into this game averaging just 2 walks per 9 innings, looking for his 20th win. It's not going to happen. Michael Ryan, another nice night at the plate with a couple RBIs on 2 hits. But really, the story so far has been Brad Radke. 6 solid innings for Brad Radke. 7 solid innings, 93 pitches, no walks, 3 strikeouts.
Jeep game summary with a new Chicago pitcher, Kelly Wunsch, in there. Loaiza with his shortest outing of the year, and Radke looking very strong against a very good lineup again. Wunsch misses inside. Wunsch had some control problems to deal with. And we saw it in Cleveland out of the Cleveland rotation. And we'll see it out of this Chicago bullpen. And anybody else that can throw a left-hander at the Twins will throw a left-hander at the Twins. The first 2 bullpen moves for Jerry Manuel from the left side.
Kelly Wunsch, a tough guy for left-handers to hit because he has that submarine type delivery with that fastball and breaking ball. Spent some time on a disabled list this year, making his 40th appearance. He's allowed only 14 hits in 34 1/3 innings coming into this appearance right here. He's walked 20 with 29 strikeouts.
And now 3-2.
Sandy Alomar taking over behind the plate.
Off the plate. Wunsch waits. Not in time.
Wunsch took a little too much time. You have to get that ball up over your head and make a quick throw. He kind of took a little crow hop right here, and Jock Jones says, hey, I'm okay. I beat out this little hit right here. My groin is fine. Do not pinch run for me. But it's not going to happen. Jock beating that infield base hit off. And Jock coming out of the game even though he doesn't want to. Well, you need Jock Jones down the stretch. Marty's smiling right there.
Jones re-injured his groin muscle running from first to second. So you can understand why Gardy got him out of there before another injury occurred. Here's Lou Ford pinch running for Jones, and Corey Koski at the plate. Swing and a miss.
Jock begging right there.
A little late at this point. I think once you're out,
you can't go back in.
I mean, look at the situation as it is. The Twins are hitting in the bottom of the 7th. Unless the White Sox come back to tie it up, Twins might not get Jones' spot in the batting order back around again. So why not take him out?
Well, the smile of Jock Jones, he loves to play the game.
14 hits, and every one of them has been a single base hit. Closest we've come to an extra base hit was Guzman's drive to left. Carlos Lee making a nice leaping catch.
Left-handed batters coming into this appearance for Kelly Wunsch are hitting .89 off of him. Only 5 hits in 56 batters he has faced from the left side. That's how tough he is.
Maybe the best Chicago reliever, Damaso Marte, also slings the ball from the left side. So you can understand as they've tried to piece this puzzle together with the White Sox. You've got Colon, a 20-game winner last year. Burley, who almost won 20. Loaiza, who might win 20 this year. And a bunch of gimmicky relief pitchers that are pretty tough.
That breaking ball right there started about at the knee of Corey Koski, breaks over the inner half of the plate.
Friday, September 26th. Don't miss a special Fox Sports Net presentation of Their Wildest Dreams. A look back at the Minnesota Wild's Cinderella season and a look ahead to what's in store for 2003 and 4. Their Wildest Dreams, Friday at 26th, September 26th at 9 right here on Fox Sports Net. Here's Torrey Hunter. Torrey's batting average right now at .250. And it's been a long and tough climb to get it there. But if the Twins get to postseason play, it's almost like another opening day.
Yep. And really, from here on out, the batting average, it doesn't matter. Torrey could go 4 for 4, and his average would probably go up 1 point. He has so many at-bats.
Chopped wide at first.
What Torrey would like to do is drive in his 100th run and maybe hit 4 more home runs to end the season with 30 home runs.
And I think that's why one of the reasons the postseason is so fascinating to watch, because players who over the course of a regular season might not have had very good years, yet in postseason play, it's like they've recharged their batteries and everything starts all over for them. Tim Laudner hit 190 for the Twins in 1987. Ford takes off. Alomar's throw, not in time, and a stolen base for Lou Ford.
Lou Ford got a great jump right there off of Kelly Wunsch. Getting into scoring position. The left-hander that throws down from under. Lou Ford picks up his first stolen base. Alomar's throw had something on it, but Lou Ford beat it out.
One and two to Hunter, and now 2 and 2. Tim Laudner again hit just 190 in the 87 regular season, and he had 318. Drove in 4 runs on 7 hits in the World Series that year.
And Lombardozzi had a great series.
Yep. 2 and 2 to Hunter. Right up the middle of base hit.
There he
Ford
comes.
comes around. Hunter's 100th run batted in.
So the stolen base by Lou Ford gets into scoring position. Torrey Hunter follows with a base hit up the middle. And it's RBI number 100 for Torrey Hunter.
He wants the ball. First time in his career he's reached the 100 RBI level.
And Twins fans, you hope not the last. Right through the wickets of Kelly Wunsch. And Torrey Hunter clapping right there. He knows it's his 100th RBI. Again, Corey Koski, 103 RBIs a couple years ago.
Here's Pierzynski. And Wunsch snaps a breaking ball over.
That stolen base by Lou Ford, I didn't know if he had had one before. That's his first major league stolen base. So congratulations, Lou Ford.
And now Hunter takes off and steals a base.
Well, the Twins feel like they can run on Kelly Wunsch with that underarm, sidearm delivery. Torrey getting another good jump right there. Lou Ford had a great jump for Torrey Hunter, his 6th stolen base in 13 attempts. And he gets into scoring position.
So the ball that Torrey Hunter spanked into center field for his 100th RBI gets this treatment in the Twins dugout.
Minkiewicz
flipping it into the crowd, or
yeah,
threatening to. 1-2 to Pierzynski. And Pierzynski strikes out.
Wunsch picks up his 2nd strikeout in relief.
And now another left-hander, Michael Ryan, will give it a go. Big insurance run for the Twins. It's back to a 4-run lead. The White Sox have just 6 outs left. Ryan with a pair of base hits. Very little physical evidence of his misfortune on Sunday afternoon in Cleveland. Just a couple of little scuff marks on his forehead from where the ball hit him. As he told me before the game, and he put it so eloquently, right field's a lot easier when you use your gloves.
He said, I may make some highlight reels on these sports channels. He said, but when they show that, maybe what I do good, they'll always go back to the one hitting off my head.
That's strike 2. I don't know how any left-handed hitter can stand in and keep that front leg from turning into jelly.
I don't know why it took Kelly Wunsch 7 years to get to the big leagues. Originally property of the Milwaukee Brewers back in 1993. Finally came up with the White Sox in 2000. That's tough.
Probably didn't have anybody who threw like this in the International League.
Wunsch last year went through shoulder surgery. That's why his appearances are a little bit low this year. Back in 2000, his first year with the White Sox, he appeared in 83 ball games out of the bullpen. Last year only 50, making his 40th appearance this year.
To Ryan. Troy Hawkins warmed up. Might be ready to come in here.
Brad Radke, 93 pitches, 65 for strikes, no walks, 3 strikeouts.
Radke went the distance in Chicago. Two and 2, Michael Ryan. And that's the end of the inning, but the Twins get a couple of hits, a big stolen base, and score another run against Kelly Wunsch. See, now that hurts. That hurts. As a SCSU alum, they don't want me to circle. I mean, from the class of 19, you know,
45.
LaTroy Hawkins comes into the ball game in the 8th.
Hawk coming in for the 70th time, 9-3 on the year with the save. A 1.88 ERA for LaTroy. He's allowed 68 hits in 72 innings pitched. 14 walks. He's allowed only 3 earned home runs, and with 73 strikeouts.
Alomar takes strike 1. That the White Sox are in this game should be credited to Alomar and his defense early in the ball game. Made a couple of great plays, making catches, in one case getting an out on balls headed to right field. Popped up center field. Hunter, Ryan, and it's Hunter, one away. Royals jumped out early on Cleveland. They're hanging in there. 78th win of the year. If this score holds, the Royals will remain 3.5 out, and the White Sox will be 1.5 out. And of course, the frustrating thing for Kansas City, they can do something about the fact that the White Sox are ahead of them. They no longer play the Twins. So in this series, you would imagine that the Royals would be cheering for the Chicago White Sox because they've got 7 games left with them. Every game the Twins win is one game the White Sox can't pick up.
Carlos Lee 5 for 16 lifetime against LaTroy Hawkins. With one of the hits being a double.
1-1. Seattle's lost again, and the Mariners appear to be free falling not only out of the division race but out of the wild card race. So if Boston is the wild card winner because of a rule that says a division champion can't face a wild card team in its division, another fly to center, fairly deep, but Hunter has it measured. Out number 2. Alomar with some great plays. Carlos Lee with a big catch earlier in the ball game. Our Chrysler play of the game.
Yeah, off the bat of Christian Guzman, Lee goes back and makes a nice leaping catch right there, robbing Christian Guzman of his 3rd home run.
2 down in the 8th, and here's Frank Thomas for the first time tonight with the bases empty. Two hops to Koski. And Hawkins pitches another spotless inning. Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
That's right. They have it down to minutes, Dick. Not only days, they have it down to minutes. 202 more days, but that's a lot of free time on your hands.
I think this year I'm going to buy you something online.
Are you going to use my credit card that I lost in Chicago?
Somebody's used it, I guess, a little bit, huh?
Yes, they did.
There's Christian Guzman facing Scott Sullivan in the bottom of the 8th.
Sullivan getting traded over from the Cincinnati Reds. We saw Kelly Wunsch from underneath. Scott Sullivan, a right-hander that throws that 3/4 under sidearm submarine type delivery, making his 10th appearance for the Chicago White Sox. No record, 4.32 ERA.
And that was quick. So even the switch hitter Guzman, hitting from the left side of the plate, has a tough time with the breaking ball. 1 away.
That's a 10th strikeout of the Chicago White Sox staff today against the Minnesota Twins.
Last 5 outs have been on strikeouts. And now here's Shannon Stewart. At the knees, strike 1. Stewart hitless, but he drew a couple of big walks early in the game against Loaiza. Half swing, did he go? Home plate umpire Joe West said yes.
Well, again, you talk about the importance of Shannon Stewart, what he's meant to that ball club. You go to the first inning, I think it took about 7 or 8 pitches for Shannon Stewart to finally walk against Loiza. And that kind of set the tone. I mean, Loiza struggled after that. Walked 2 more that inning, and the Twins put a run on the board in the first inning.
Well, we see so many times Twins hitters aggressive early in the count. We've seen it for years, and yet in this game, as we said in the first inning, I don't know that any of the first 4 hitters swung at a pitch with less than 2 strikes. I mean, they were very patient. They wanted to get deep into the count, and it worked. That's a roller foul. Now tomorrow against John Garland, maybe a different approach, but it's one thing to go into the game with a game plan. It's another to execute it offensively the way the Twins have here tonight.
But then again, Dick, I think we saw Esteban Loiza, who's 19-7 coming in with the 3rd best ERA in the American League. He really wasn't on his game tonight. Really missing a lot, and he didn't miss by just a little bit. It wasn't like Joe West said, okay, he missed, 4 or 5 inches on either side of the plate.
Not just the walks, the 2 wild pitches, uncharacteristic of Loiza as well. Ouch. That hurt up here. 2 away. Students come to the Dome and be heard tomorrow night. Game 2 of this very important series. It's Devani Student Night, meaning students with ID can get upper general admission tickets for $3. Hormel hot dogs are available for $1 apiece. It'll be an affordable night out to watch one of the biggest games of the season. 833 Twins and numbers to call. Now, when you were a student, did you have a student ID?
Yes.
Really?
Well, I had my high school card that allowed me to get into all the sports activities.
See, I can't relate to that. I went to a school and there were only 6 other students in the whole school. Well, what would you need an ID card?
A football team, didn't you?
I was 3rd in my class. Sullivan really
doesn't say much about the other 3.
No, but I mean, we had 7 kids in the whole school, but there were 3 of us in 4th grade, so I probably shouldn't say that publicly, but 1-1. Two and 1 to Denny Hocking.
Sullivan first up with the Cincinnati Reds back in 1995. Someone that can throw a lot of innings and a lot of appearances.
To left, and Carlos Lee will chase it. Makes the play, and Sullivan pitches a 1-2-3/8. And the White Sox down to their last inning's worth of at bat. Now that is neat. Someone's gone to the trouble of putting together a Hall of Fame plaque for you.
And if I ever go in, I want to look just like that. Thank you very much.
Why they use Danny Darwin on that picture, I don't know. Bagley Ordonez leads off the Chicago night. Strike 1 and LaTroy Hawkins, and somewhat of a rarity for him, being asked to pitch more than 1 inning.
Yeah, not a safe situation, so Hawk going to be asked to close the game here. Ordonez 8 for 22 lifetime against LaTroy Hawkins, a .364 batting average.
Guzman behind the bag, flips, got him. Good play by Christian Guzman.
Such a pretty play when you have a shortstop that has great range like Guzzi on this high chopper over the mound. Watch Guzzi playing even at short. Extra bounce right there, and Guzzi all in one motion, making that flip over to Minkiewicz for the first out. So 4 up, 4 down for LaTroy Hawkins.
And now Everett. Everett with one of 8 Chicago singles. 15 hits in the game, and every one has been a single. One and 1.
LaTroy Hawkins against the Chicago White Sox this season now has worked 11 innings. He's given up 5 hits and no runs. one of his 9 wins coming against the Chicago White Sox this season.
That's hit a long way to right field.
Hey, I spoke too soon.
Into the upper deck, a home run for Everett, and it's 5-2.
Looked like a changeup that Hawk left up, and Everett just jumped all over it. For Everett, it's his 28th home run of the year. Yeah, changeup, Everett. Getting that uppercut swing and hitting it in the upper deck here at the Metrodome.
And now Paul Konerko.
Konerko just 3 for 17 against Hawk.
Fouled back and a strike.
28th home run for Carl Everett. Only the 4th home run that LaTroy Hawkins has allowed.
And we were in Chicago last week. In fact, it was a week ago tonight. Twins put together a spirited 9th inning comeback. And you kept saying, you know, this will help build momentum for the next day. And it turned out it's exactly what happened. So the challenge for Hawkins here, just right the home run off the one bad pitch, come back and don't let anything build here.
You're absolutely right, Dick. I think, you know, the biggest thing what you don't want. Now, if the Twins win tonight, I mean, how much more pressure is put on the Chicago White Sox going into tomorrow's ball game? You want to stop it right here and beat the White Sox 5-2. Remember, the Twins, they were able to put 4 runs on the board and ended up losing 8-6.
1 and 2.
Because they were down 8-2 going into the game. If that the way the score ended, you go into the clubhouse feeling kind of bad. But even Ron Gardenhire said, hey, even though we lost, we just showed that these guys don't give up.
Best example of that, and it came in a critical game to me, was game 3 of the ALCS against Detroit. Tigers jumped out early 5-0. The Twins came back, had the lead. Pat Sheridan hit the big home run. You guys ended up losing the ball game. There's a drive into the right field corner. Ryan hustling, and he can't quite get there. Good effort in foul territory. And
Boy,
it's 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is tough right here to try to dive. We see Dustin Moore out in right field doing this. Great effort right here by Ryan. But this turf is hard. Ryan, all-out effort, just comes up a little short, but falling on that turf.
At least was able to tuck and roll a little bit. Good hustle by Ryan. It's 1 and 2 to Konerko. But anyway, after game 3 of that playoff series, a pivotal game, it looked like the Tigers were back on track. I wasn't in the clubhouse, but all the reports were everybody was really encouraged that they had come back from an early 5-0 lead or deficit.
So important for a ball club. You don't give up, and it just shows character. And believe me, this Chicago White Sox ball club, they have a lot of character. They've had a great year. They've had trouble on the road. They've done very well at home. They're 48-27 at U.S. Cellular Field, but on the road, they're 10 games under 500. Coming into tonight's ball game, they're 32-42 on the road.
1 and 2 to Konerko. Hoping to get aboard and build a rally for the White Sox. Hawkins left the pitch up. Konerko fouled it back. Incidentally, the Tigers lost again today. Their 112th loss of the season. And if the Twins win, they'll be 43.5 games out of first. 9-6, Toronto won tonight. Hawkins trying to put away a dangerous hitter here. The count remains 1 and 2. And Konerko won't go away.
Yeah, looked like another changeup, but better location than when he threw to Everett. It was down, but Konerko just got a piece of it.
You're surprised that not only is Hawkins asked to pitch a second inning, but there's nobody warming up in the bullpen.
Oh, that's how much confidence they have in LaTroy. Now, if maybe Konerko gets a hit, you might see Eddie Gorgato up. But right now, it's in the hands of LaTroy Hawkins to finish off the White Sox here.
Guzman gobbles it up, fumbles it, still has time, throws him out.
Don't panic. That's exactly what Christian Guzman did not do right there. Ball looked like it hit the heel of his glove, and then on the turf, the ball right there came up a little bit. Guzzi bare hands it and still makes a strong throw. Now Konerko doesn't get down the line very quickly. This allows Christian Guzman to make a strong throw and get the second out.
White Sox down to their last out. Some debris thrown onto the field in center field. Looks to be just, I thought it looked like paper. We're told now socks have been thrown.
I sure hope they're not circle me Bert signs. Let's all play good, be good sports here.
Yep.
Dirty Sox at that, says Torrey Hunter.
Torrey picked one up and said, I want no part of it. Left it back on the field.
Now Eddie Guardado starting to loosen up in the bullpen. Twins win here tonight. They're a game and a half ahead of the Chicago White Sox.
Ball one.
It's been a great game for the fans. Twins scored early, kept the fans in the game, and here with 2 outs in the ninth, almost everybody on their feet waving their hanky.
Now the Twins handed out the homer hankies. There hasn't been an extra base hit for the Twins. Everett's home run in the ninth here, the only extra base hit of the ball game. 1-1.
Jose Valentin, 2 for 17 lifetime against LaTroy Hawkins. 0 for 3 in the ball game.
That Hawkins is being given a second inning here might also show confidence in Juan Rincon, who stepped up and pitched very well with a above average fastball from the right side. He may be asked to get some of these outs tomorrow. 1-2.
Juan also pitched on Saturday and Sunday. So needed a day off.
1-2 to Valentin. Popped up. Guzman retreats to the outfield. Game 1 to the Twins. Longest road trip of the season ends, and maybe a winning streak is starting to build here with the opening game of this homestand.
Well, Torrey Hunter came out today and said, we're pumped. We want to beat the Chicago White Sox. The Twins scored early, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third to take a 4-0 lead, but Brad Radke put zeros on the board. That was the key to tonight's ball game. Our Minnesota Mortgage Player of the Game is Brad Radke. He wins his 13th game with 7 very solid innings. He gave up 8 hits, all singles, with no walks again, with 3 strikeouts.
And impressively, in the heat of a pennant race against the team the Twins have to beat to get to postseason play, he beat the White Sox in back-to-back starts in the middle of September. And here's how the standings look now. The Twins, who moved into first place by themselves with a win last night, now lead the White Sox by a game and a half. 2 games left in this series. This is going to be fun, folks. More from the Dome in a moment.